feet, run fast, because God say if I wouldn't have never made you uncomfortable, you wouldn't have never moved. Hello, I'm Janelle and welcome back to my channel. So if you are new on this channel, it's a whole bunch of vlogs. It's a few story times here and there, but for the most part, I just do a lot of ripping and running and just mind my business. So I have my tea and I'm drinking Zen. So today I wanted to speak about the horrors of being a homeowner. Okay. So I'm gonna just jump right in. You know, maybe you can learn some things from this video. Maybe everything I'm gonna speak about you probably experienced or know somebody that have experienced or already know about. But neither here or there. This story is my story. This is, you know, something that can like just enlighten you on the whole situation of when you buy a house. Okay. So I bought my first house in 2003. My son was 5 years old. So so when I first bought my house, now, okay, let me back up. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. So if anybody out there knows anything about Baltimore, Maryland, we have a lot of row houses. We do have single family houses and all of that too. But primarily, the city is set up with lots and lots of row houses. So my house was a row house. It was my starter home. You know, back in 2003, the prices weren't as skyrocket high like they are now. So, you know, things were just a lot different. So when I bought my house, my neighbors on the right side, they were not friendly people from day one. Okay. From day one. So it was like an elderly couple. And then now when I say elderly, I'm not even going to say I'm thinking. I know for sure they were like in their late 80s. But then their kids lived with them, which their kids were probably 50s, something like that. So anyhow, none of those people were nice people besides the elderly man. He was really, really nice. And like I say, I bought my house in April of 2003. And I think that the man died before the summer was even over. And he used to speak to me and everything. Besides that, nobody on this side of me, they never spoke to me, okay? Even if I would speak to them, they would never say anything. So, of course, I just stopped speaking to them. So, the people on this side, which was the left of me, it was, you know, a girl that was probably like a little bit younger than me. And she ended up like selling her home maybe within the first 3 years of me buying my home. So, then when she sold her house, the house was empty for a while. So, not vacant, because some people can get that misconstrued. Vacant in Baltimore means boarded up and all of that. No, the house, she sold her house, and whomever that she sold her house to, they never ever moved in the house. They actually just bought the house, and then eventually they started renting the house out. So that was that story. So the neighborhood was not really a friendly neighborhood. It just wasn't a neighborly neighborhood. But the neighborhood itself, you know, was pretty quiet. I mean, you could literally hear a pin drop at nighttime. That's all I was worrying about, like, when I kept driving around there before I actually purchased the house. Because I actually found the house on my own and then told my realtor. And then she done what she done. But the neighborhood was really quiet. You know, very kid-friendly, which was a great thing. So, you know, it was okay, but like nobody really talked, which was cool by me because I don't really do neighbors anyway, but I do speak to people. I will speak, hello, how you doing, all of that, but all of the extra chitter chatter, no. So, wait a minute, y'all. This tea is so good because I have lemon, honey, and sugar. So, when you buying a house, you're not just buying the house. I'm sure that you know that. You're buying into the neighborhood. So when things change in the neighborhood, it can decrease the value of your home. So, I'm sure everybody knew that. So anyhow, within the first 4 years, a lot of the people on the block, which I had never even got to even see, let alone meet half of the people on the block. But they started moving. They started selling their homes. And some of them, didn't necessarily sell their houses. They just moved out and started renting out their homes. So the dynamics of the neighborhood changed within 4 years. It still didn't get rowdy or anything, but it just changed. It just was an extra not friendly neighborhood then. So now remember, I said the house on the left of me, the girl, she had sold her house. Whoever bought the house, they never moved in the house, but then eventually, they done some renovations and the house was empty for a while. Then eventually they started renting out the house. So I don't really know what year. I'm thinking my son was maybe about 8, 9, or 10 around this time. So it was this girl who moved in. Keep in mind, the people on the right, I already didn't deal with them. They didn't deal with me either. Fine. Now the girl on the left, she moved in. She was like a thick girl, a thick girl. So she moved in with her daughter. I'm thinking my son was around 10. I'm thinking. Okay, I could be wrong, but I'm thinking. So she wasn't friendly, pleasant, none of that from the very beginning, which was fine by me. Because like I say, I do a whole lot of minding my business, okay? But I just don't think that it costs anything to speak. But you can't make nobody do anything. And I didn't even care that much, okay? Just don't bother me. So I noticed, and she didn't even live there that long. But let me get into the story. So I had noticed that it seemed like that she had an issue with me. Now, y'all hear me now, right? I said that she never spoke. I didn't know nothing about her besides the fact that she had a daughter. It just seemed like she had a issue with me. Like, and mind you, this is so childish. Let me see. When I bought my house, I was 28 years old. So this was like, I was in my early 30s around this time. Early 30s, I'm thinking. So this was just so childish to me. I don't know how old she was. But like, when you see, first of all, the hate that black women give each other is just unacceptable. It's unacceptable, and we all need to unite and just make a change because it's just unacceptable. But she would like look at me really crazy, and then she would roll her eyes and just all of this childish shit, because that's what it was. So my philosophy is, long as you don't touch me, long as you don't invade my space, long as you don't touch me, do what you want. Because my energy, I just know when a person just displays horrible energy, and I just don't want no parts of them. So then her boyfriend moved in. Okay, now this is when shit got crazy. Yeah, I could say crazy. Okay, so when her boyfriend moved in, now keep in mind, I'm not the type of woman that thinks when a guy's speaking to me, oh, he wants me, oh, he likes me, oh. No. That is just very ignorant to me. No, I don't. So her boyfriend, mind you, if I saw either one of them today, I wouldn't even remember who they was and how they looked. Could care less. But her boyfriend would speak, hello, because it appeared that he had more manners than her. So he would say hello. He never went out his way and screamed and, like, hey. No, it was just like, hello, just that. So I would be like, hello. That was it. Nothing more, nothing less. So y'all know how women can be about their man. Especially if they think that their man might possibly be paying more attention to. It's just weird stuff that goes on with women and their men, especially when you're insecure. So that was that. He would speak blah blah blah. It was. So one day, I'm thinking this is when it started. I can't really remember if this was the actual day, but I'm gonna say I was because now it was even worse with me. I was the type of neighbor that it was either I was home or I'm not. I never sat on my back porch. I rarely ever sat on my steps. So it's either I would be in the house or I just would not be home. That's just the type of person that I am. I'm not really that much of a neighbor person, but I will speak. But I don't do a whole bunch of interacting with neighbors because I don't know. I just think that sometimes they just too nosy for me. I can't. So But like I say, I will hold a conversation very short, and I will speak because I have manners. So, okay, so if y'all hear a little bird chirping, y'all already know that's energy, which he should be asleep. That's why I chose to do this video later on. What is it? 8:21, because, you know, birds, they rise in the day. There you go. And they bring it on down at night. But he should be asleep, but he not. Okay, so where was I at? Okay, so one day I came home and I had all these shopping bags. And I was getting out my car. I had to make like maybe 2-3 trips. My car to my front. So as I'm walking back up the steps to the front of my home, the girl, now I'm just going to be, excuse me, very blunt in this video. If y'all don't really like cursing and stuff, y'all might want to click off, because I can talk without cursing, but I want to kind of be verbatim. So I was walking up my steps and she was looking at me real dirty, okay? Like a real dirty look. And one thing, I'm not going to back down from nobody. You're not going to treat me any kind of way. Like, it's just not happening. So I said, do you have a problem? And that's when all hell broke loose. So she barged. Well, first of all, when I say barge, she never stepped off her step. But she threw her screen door open and was like, bitch, I will drag you up and down the street and yada, yada, yada. And I just was like, so the bags that I had in my hand at that time, because there's only 2 ways win or losing. It's only 2, well, of course it's 3, if neither one of y'all make it. But for the most part, it's win or losing. So I set my bags down and I said, well, if you are about everything you're saying, just step on my property. And I stood right on my step. And she never done anything. So I felt like I called her bluff. But I'm going to tell y'all something that my past career taught me. Because if you haven't watched that video, I will link it in the description box. And I will also have it on the end screen. Because that was a very interesting video just about some of the things that I have experienced. But if you have a good job, when I say good job, I'm talking about a job that has a retirement plan. Because anything other than that to me is a bullshit job. But that's my opinion. So when you have a government job, state job, city job, you know, people become a little envious of that, which I don't know why. You can apply and get one too. So this is what I know had to be the issue, okay? Somebody who you see and visually you think that they're doing 20 times better than you, and you may not think that you could ever get there, which you are capable of doing anything that you put your mind to. Please believe it, okay? So this is what the issue had to be. This is what it had to be in my mind. Okay, so me being a retired correctional officer, I've learned through life you got to start laying down timelines, okay? People like to play with you and they think they're going to take your job, which wasn't going to happen. But now, hey, I'm retired, so. But they, you know, people be trying to create issues and antagonize and thinking that they're going to take your job. So you got to be smart about it and create timelines, create paper trails, things like that. So that when things don't go the way that the person might have thought that they was going to go, and then you end up in court, you'll have a long paper trail. Like, I warned y'all about this person before she ended up, you know. So this is with a paper trail. This is why it's important. So that was the only thing that I could have thought of that had to be the issue, because I didn't really think it could have been anything else, you know. You want my life. I live a simple life. I don't know why, but hey, when people on the outside looking in, they don't know. So, like, after that, you know, it kind of calmed down with her. Because me, I just kept coming and going like I normally do. And then one day, something said, go check on your son. Because my son was outside riding his bike. And something was like, he hasn't checked in maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I think it was. Don't quote me, but something like that. Someone said, yeah, go check and see what's going on with your son. So me, if y'all watch my video when I said why I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, you already know I do not like clothes. I only like shorts, tank tops, flip-flops. That's my favorite clothes. I don't care nothing about fall. I don't like to wear clothes. I just like the bare minimum, okay? So I leaves out my house with my my basic outfit, a tank top, shorts, and some flip-flops. And her boyfriend was on the step. So as soon as I opened up my front door, I looked from to the left to the right because I'm looking like, where's my son? Because he already knew the check in at a certain time, right? So she say, these around here. And I'm like, the only I see is you. Just like that. So that's when she got up off the step. I'm telling you, this was really, really bizarre, okay? And her and her boyfriend were on the step together, and he cussed her out to no end, okay? That girl never say nothing to you. What is your problem with her? Excuse me. What is your problem with her? You always, yeah. And that just went from 0 to 200 real quick with them. Because I went on down the street looking for my son. And then it was so ironic because I saw this teenager riding my son's bike. So, listen to your intuition when I said something told me go check on my son. So I saw this teenager ride my son's bike and I said, get off my son's bike. And he was just like, huh? Get off my son's bike. I don't argue or play with nobody, kids. Go get your mother. Get off my son's bike. So he got off my son's bike. And then I stood there because I'm looking for my son. And then I see my son and his friends walking up because obviously, he had let somebody hold his bike and the boy probably thought he was going to keep his bike. And that didn't go the way he thought that was going to go. So my son and his friends was looking for the boy, but just so happened that I saw the boy first. So blah, blah, blah. That was why my intuition was like, go check on your son. That's why he ain't checked in, because he was looking for his bike. So that was that. And then the crazy neighbor, she was in the house. Okay, so we gonna fast forward, because like I said, she didn't live there long. So I don't remember how long, but it wasn't long. So this was one day I was going to motor vehicle to get the stickers for my tags, right? So I went to motor vehicle to get my stickers because, they were about to be expired. So when I gets there, I don't know how y'all do it, but I keep all my registrations, like the previous, like little white it depends on what state you live in and how they do it. But I keep all of the little registrations. When I get a new one, I just stick it in front, like in my little booklet. So when I gets there to get my new stickers for my license plate, the lady telling me that I have a fine, and it was almost $500. It was $400 and something because, what did she say it was? Because I didn't go to emissions, because in the state of Maryland, you have to go to emissions. And I think that's what it was. Something about emissions. I failed to go to emissions, blah, 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 and they fined me all of this. And I was like, well, I think that's what it was. Don't quote me, but I believe that's what it was. And then I was like, well, when did they send me out anything for emissions? So when she, looked in the system, of course she had my license and everything in her hand, and she had my, the registration that I was, about to get the new one for. And she said, oh, no wonder you didn't get the notice. This isn't the address we have in our system. And I'm like, ma'am, I've lived in this house for years. Because keep in mind, I lived in my house for almost 2 decades before I sold the house. But mind you, this wasn't quite all the way at the end. So I had already lived there maybe 9 years, I'm thinking. Because the girl, if I'm not mistaken, the girl was already gone. She already didn't live there no more. So yeah, she was already gone. So the lady was like, oh, no wonder you didn't get the letter in the mail, because this is not the address we had for you. So whatever the address was that she had, I said, miss, I have never heard of that address a day in my life. That is not where I have ever lived, right? So I show her my previous registration, because I actually had 3 of them in my wallet, even though they were all expired, but I still had them. So I show her all of them, and that's when she was like, oh, no wonder you didn't get them, you never lived there. So I'm just like, what the? So she had to get her supervisor and everything, so they ended up waiving the fee. So let's fast forward to maybe like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks later. So the guy who had lived across the street from me, he was telling me how he was just talking about a story. I don't even know what the whole logic in the story was about, but he was talking about the girl who used to live next door to me, the girl that had the issue. And he said that she worked at NVA. When he said she worked at NVA, bingo, I knew it. She changed my address in the system, but of course I couldn't prove it. She changed my address, but it didn't really matter much because I didn't have to pay the $400 and something, and They had, fixed everything, whoever changed, whatever they changed. But I know it was her. So this is what I'm saying. When you're buying a house, these people that you might end up living around are crazy as hell, okay? So, let's talk about the people on the right side of me. Okay, so one night, first of all, they used to watch the grandkid. Okay, so the elderly couple, remember I said their kids lived with them. That was in the 50s, 40s maybe, I don't know, at that time. And then the grandkids would come over. I mean, it was just a whole lot of noise. I could hear them sitting in their living room, like talking, just a regular conversation, like sitting in their living, like, oh my goodness, I did not sign up for this. I did not sign up for this. I did not sign up for this. This is what I'm saying to myself. So, mind you, in my past career, I had to be there at 6:48, but I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning because, baby, I done everything in the morning. Took a shower, ironed my uniform, cooked breakfast, packed too much, okay? So it was like almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm hearing these kids thumping and bumping and jumping, and I'm like, what in the hell is going on, okay? So this is why I say it's important to establish a timeline, okay? Oh, and I'm going to go back to that story because I'm kind of jumping around, but y'all get it. So I calls my mom. I tells my mom exactly what the issue is and that I'm about to go knock on their door. So it's important to keep a timeline because you just don't know how things could play out. Something could possibly happen, and then they won't even know what time it could have happened. So let's just say, hypothetically, I called my mom at maybe 12:50 a.m. and I went and knocked on their door. Keep in mind, I told you they never talked to me from day one, okay? So I'm knocking on the door. It ain't no smiles. It ain't no laughs. It's me tired as hell. And I'm like, excuse me, I don't know what the problem is, but I hear a whole bunch of kids bumping and thumping and knocking all into the walls. And I had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I was not nice about it either. I do want to say that. So this was probably about, let's just say 1 a.m. on the dot. So she was very apologetic, which was great because I wasn't in the mood. I didn't know how I was going to go. I didn't give a damn at that point. I just wasn't in the mood. So, because I was so sleepy. So, she calmed the kids down, which to me, they should have been asleep anyway. But hey, they ain't my kids. Do what you want with your kids. But I'm just like, so that's when I called my mother back and let her know, because I just like to keep a timeline, a time frame. I just think it's very important. So, okay, that was that. So, like I say, they never talked to me from day one. Okay, so let me go back a little bit because when I told you about the NBA story, the girl already didn't live there before. But I had to call the police on this girl over here at least twice, right? And I don't do police like that because I don't like how they treat black people, period. But you're going to do your job. You're going to do your job, and I'm going to make sure of it. So I had to call the police on her just to start a paper trail. To make sure everybody, if we ever had to end up in court, y'all can't say that y'all was never notified, okay? So, of course, a lot of times when people call police on people get very quiet. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what you're talking about. They ain't never seen you before. Oh, all of that. So, her memory got real fuzzy. Because I think she had sent somebody to knock on my door. This is how it all started. This was a whole nother time. She had sent a little kid to knock on my door. I don't even know why would you do that. That makes no sense to me. And I'm like, what is it that you need? This is what I'm saying to the little kid. And he was like, oh my, I don't even know who she was to him. She said, y'all probably think that this story is for real. My memory is very vague when it comes to certain parts of it, but none of it made sense to me. And I'm just like, what in the hell is going on? So, I can't really remember what that issue was that day, but every time I turned around, she had an issue with me. That's what happens when you're just so insecure. I can't say nothing else. Like, insecure about whatever it was you insecure about. These are the repercussions of being insecure. So, eventually, she ended up moving. So, that was like, bye-bye. And then the house was empty for a little while, and then somebody else came. So, see, when you're buying a house and then people start renting their houses out, shit just get real crazy. Because you just never know, who they renting their house to. And I mean, not that you know who's going to buy it either. But you don't know just the way that they live, because everybody just don't live the same. So, keep in mind, the people on the right of me, they always had their grandkids over there. So it would be all kinds of trash and everything in front of my door when I come home. I would be picking up Dorito bags. I would be picking up Funyun bags, all kinds of potato chip bags, and all kinds. I'm talking, this was almost every day. But this right here is what is going to take the cake. Y'all gonna be like, this shit. I'm telling you. Okay, so. One day I comes home. Okay, so in some houses in Baltimore, they have like the water. I don't know if I got lipstick all on. Anyway, they have like where you can hook up your water hose in front of your house, which most houses should have that, I'm assuming. In Baltimore, it could be your front and your back that has the little faucet thing where you can hook up your water hose. So one day I'm coming from work. Now, mind you, I'm back to the people on the right, the people that never talked to me from day one. Well, she didn't either, but these people. So I come home from work and it was like they were getting their steps re-cemented. Y'all heard me, re-cemented. And the water hose that they were using was my water hose and my water, because my water wasn't cut off from inside my basement. You know, it just was cut off out front. When I tell you, all hell broke loose when I got out my car and I walked up to the house and I said, why is you using my water hose? I just went ballistic. And I don't even know who the guys was. Never saw them a day in my life. But they was hired by them. And they knew that they wasn't using their water hose because they didn't have no water hose. I went ballistic. I lost it. And I'm going to tell y'all this is the honest to God truth. I could put my hands on the Bible. I told that man, if he don't, because I don't even know how long you was using my water. And I was nasty as hell. It wasn't no cut calls. It wasn't no professionalism. It wasn't no sweet little, I was nasty as hell. I was. So, he was so intimidated, I guess, because I was on 3,000, not 1,000, 3. He went in his pocket and he gave me $50. I had never saw the guy before. I didn't give a damn. Why you using my water? So, at that very moment, I unhooked my water hose. I went in my house. I went in the basement, cut my water off from inside my house, because that was never going to happen again. Okay. Whew, I think I got stories for days. I don't even know if I could say all of it in this video, but I'm just telling you, if you buy a house, first of all, if God ever gave me the opportunity, which I don't, like my son is 23. If this is your first time watching me, my son is 23, okay? I raised my son in a house. That was all that really mattered to me. My son is grown. It's time for him to, do his own thing. But let's just say hypothetically, if God gave me the opportunity to purchase another house, which I don't really want another house because it's just me. You know how all of this 6 feet, no, you're going to give me 12 feet. I want 12 feet between neighbors on both sides, maybe 24. I can't do them. I won't, okay? So let me fast forward, because like I said, it's more to this story that I can't get into, because you know how they say everything ain't for the internet. But it just got real cringy. It's so much more to this story. But this particular part, y'all is not going to believe. So this was like 2015. 15, I think. 16, 15, 16, I think 15. I came home. Now, I had these two, you walk up my steps, and then when you walk up my steps, then I had a little walkway. Then you walk up like 3 more steps, and I had these really pretty bushes on the side of my house. Beautiful, okay? I came home from work one day. Y'all ain't ready for this. Because it can almost bring me to tears, but, I prayed about all of this. I'm way past this. My bushes was burned down to the ground. Somebody had set them on fire. Literally. When I tell you I don't even know if I want to say neighbors from hell or the neighborhood was hell. I don't know which one I want. I think I'm going to just probably say the neighborhood, because keep in mind, as years go on, depending on where you live, neighborhoods change. The kids are no longer kids. They grow up. The dynamics, everything in the neighborhood just change, Everything just switch over, depending on where you live. People pass away, people sell, people rent out their homes. Everything just changed. So, yes, my bushes was burned down to the ground, and I had to call the police. And then they had already knew about it because somebody had called the fire department when I wasn't there. And it was just, I can't even really get real in depth into that story because y'all would just be like, oh my God. Because these people on the right, she came out and she was very, 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 very nonchalant. Now, keep in mind, I said we lived in row houses where one house burned, baby, yours might burn too. It's just how it go. She was very, very, very nonchalant, okay? And as if, yeah, I called the fire department because the fire almost burnt down the tree in front of my house. And she emphasized, that's why I called the fire department, because the tree in front of my house almost burnt down. So if it wasn't for that, she would have just let everything burn. And baby, when you got neighbors like that, you better run, and I mean run fast. Don't even run with Nikes, run bare feet, run fast, because God say, if I wouldn't have never made you uncomfortable, you wouldn't have never moved. So 2017, I sold my property and I never looked back. And I have no regrets, because them people was shits, okay? So I don't have no regrets, but it's so much more to this story that I would wish I could get into, but everything ain't for the internet. So I'm just going to leave y'all with this. Before you buy a house, seek out the neighborhood. I mean, even do Google searches on maybe people, you know, that's next to it, because you could look on the tax website and see who it is. That, I mean, it ain't going to tell you the character of the person, of course, but you can find out a little bit about the people that you're moving next to or something, because they might just be, you know, neighbors from hell. And like I say, I have no regrets. My life is so much more peaceful. And see, one thing about apartment living, the type of apartments that I be living in, I never even seen the people who live down the hall from me, don't even know what they look like. And I mean, I don't even know what they look like and do not care. One thing about, like I said, most of the apartments, I don't know about all, but the ones that I be living in, people don't even see each other. You go in a garage and get in your car and you leave and you come back, you go in your apartment, or either you go in a lounge area, or, you know, but for the most part, you don't even get to know these people, and I don't even care. So thank y'all for watching. Subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and do not forget to hit the like button, and see y'all in a few days. Thank you for watching.